Hello students, the topic of this video is major problems of export sectors in India. A brief account of major drawbacks of India's export sector is like first was lack of integrated approach. An important reason for poor export performance of India has been the absence of an integrated view of the development of potential and development objectives and a long-term strategy based on such a integrated approach. A proper understanding of multiple benefits of development of a sector would lead to formulation of comprehensive and integrated development plans for the realization of multiple benefits. For example, an understanding of the effect of value added export on employment and income generation as well as higher foreign exchange earning would lead to due attention to the development of such exports. However, such a comprehensive and integrated view of development benefits was not always present under Indian planning, right? So this is the first major problem, lack of integrated approach. What is the second? Problem recognition and action lags. A major hurdle in India's progress in many fields has been lag in problem, that is need recognition. What is our need? And the lag in proper action even after the recognition of need for action. So that is the very basic problem India is struggling with it. The role of the industrialization in India's economic development has been well recognized even much before the independence. An industrial policy resolution was made shortly after the attainment of independence and was reformulated in 1956. However, no such enthusiasm was shown to deviate from the colonial trade regime and to formulate a comprehensive export development strategy. Innovation is undoubtedly one of the very important factors that affect position in competitive situation. One of the major failure of India has been it in this respect. Value added exports help better utilization of domestic resources and maximize earnings. There is a lot of scope for increasing our export earning from spices and certain other agriculture products, marine products, leather, etc. Though through value addition, but we are lagging in value addition, and now other countries are competing with us in this agriculture sector, spices sector, and leather sector. Our failure to market many products in consumer packs under our brand names to foreign consumers has caused huge loss of foreign exchange. Several products unprocessed, semi-processed and processed exported from India in bulk and are processed and repacked by foreign firms, mostly in developed countries, and sold in consumer packs under their brand names. The task force on species has observed that India has been very traditional in the approach to the export of spices. With the progress of time and development of the industry and improved standard of living, then another factor affecting is that technological factor. Technological problem have had very serious effect on India's export. The Tandon Committee and Alexander Committee have referred to the adverse impact of technological backwardness on India's export, right, through low productivity. Another factor is which affecting major problem is high cost. In a large number of cases, high domestic cost is an inhibited factor. This problem has been uh, stated by various committees. India is often at a disadvantage competing countries because its cost of production, hence export prices are higher than in competing countries, not only because of the higher prices of importable and non-traded inputs, or because of time and cost overruns implicit in managerial inefficiency. So this is the basic problem of high cost. Technological problem, technological factors and low productivity are also contribute to the high cost of production in India. It has been pointed out that productivity in resource use in a large number of export industries is still very low compared to the level of observed in many other countries and developed countries. The growth rate of productivity in India is also lower than that in many other countries. Further, the advantage of the economies of scale and ability of bulk supplies are not available to Indian exporters. Right? Then another factor is major problem is poor quality image. India has a poor quality image abroad in other foreign countries, basically in developed countries. Despite the measures taken by the Export Council, Export Act, and other laws, our export continues to suffer because of the quality problem. Poor quality, inadequacy of inputs, technology, and facilities affect the quality. Our several instances, carelessness or lack of commitment on the part of exporters are also responsible. Adulteration and duping are also not uncommon. There is a general impression that proper export culture is lacking in India. Then another major problem is similar to the poor quality image is unreal reliability. Besides quality, India exporters have been regarded as unreliable on certain other factors. As the Tandon Committee has observed, very important backmark on the Indian exporters is reneging, a term used in USA to refer to going back on a contract and refusing to fulfill it on its original terms. Indian exporters have been regarded as unreliable also because of their inability to provide prompt after sales services. This problem we are facing in local market also, in domestic market also, right? And that is the observation of other outer countries also, developed countries also, like USA and other countries. Then another factor, major problem was, now somehow we are improved in this problem, but still there is a problem for the industries are supply problem. That's why our industrialization is very restricted to limited cities and major cities, and we see now that after this COVID-19, because of not well diversified industrial development, this migration was a huge problem for India now, and it will take several years to re-establish all these things. A serious drawback of the Indian export sector is its inability to provide continuous and smooth supply in adequate quantities in respect of several products, right? The basic problem is that much of the exporting is the result of residual approach rather than conscious effort of producing for export. That means if you are satisfy the domestic market, then you think about as a added activity for export, not a core intention to export our product very carefully. The tendency for exporting what we produce rather than producing for export still continues to characterize the export behavior. That means you are producing, if it is going to excess in local market, then you are exporting that product, but you are not producing the products for basically exporting. So that is the basic carelessness. Then faceless presence, that is another problem. Although India is an important supplier for several commodities in foreign market, her presence in these markets is faceless in the sense that the consumers do not know that these commodities are Indian. This is indeed a vicious circle. The poor quality image of the Indian product, many a time apparent than real, makes it difficult to sell under Indian brand names. The faceless presence, on the other hand, uh, this perpetuates the problem, right? So this is the failure of India to keep pace with the market dynamics has also contributed to the perpetuation of this situation. The faceless presence is also result of the failure of exports and export promotion agency in India to build up an image for Indian goods to the in the other foreign countries. Then again, infrastructure bottlenecks. The following observation made by the national, I will read out some uh, conventions uh, which made by the national conventions on export organized by the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry is indeed a, what they said, infrastructural shortage such as a energy shortage, inadequate and unreliable transport and communication facilities, higher growth hinder growth in export. Improving the transportation system, including the expansion and modernization of the port facilities, rationalization of the charges, improving the procedural system, etc., are very much essential for the development of the export sector. However, the administration leaderly continues to place the Indian scenario, causing heavy damage to the export development. Now this government identify this, and from last 4 years, government very rigorously behind developing behind to developing the ports, roads, infrastructure, highways. Now you can see that development of Samruddhi Express also. These are the example of industrial for the industrial development, and it will give you a huge demand for your products also and industries also. It will help very much. So Sagarmala project, uh, that Delhi Mumbai mega corridor expressway. So these are the very much supportive to the industry. Then structural weakness. A major handicap of Indian export sector is a structural weakness. Two of the important sectors responsible for this, low efficiency and productivity in resource use and poor technology, have already been described. Then uncertainties. Uncertainties in what? Uncertainty in procedural complexities and institutional rigidity. One of the defect of the our trade policy regime has been the uncertainty about future policies and incentive schemes. The procedural complexities of Indian trade regime has been disturbing our export. There have been reports to loss of exports worth hundreds of crores of rupees due to the problem of interdependent conditions, that uh, procedural complex because of procedural complexities. And again, I have to mention that government are working on these procedural complexities and try to improvise the situation. Then institutional rigidity, obviously these are the regulatory bodies are very rigid in working and not working in a in that pace, so that it will help to the companies, to the industries to improve their export services. And last is inadequate trade information system. That is the basic, because behind the information system, uh, the proper infrastructure of information technology now required to understand the trade information. It is very much important for to export companies to make be aware about the what is the um overall world is going towards, and they should get the very transparent information from these trade information systems, and it will make them easy to trade with several regulated bodies to companies abroad with this trade information system. Just like a GST, this export promotion council should have give some unique portal for these exporters to make their work easy. So these are the major problems of Indian export sector. I hope you understand from this video what are the basic problems of export industry. Thank you.